Now we have with us the former Defence Secretary, Grant Shapps, to discuss some of those issues we've been covering. Grant, you were in the MOD until July. Can you just talk to us just how dangerous a world are we really now in?
Well, first of all, I do think it is a more dangerous world. I think we have to accept that. In fact, though I would say the greatest danger is not to accept that it's a dangerous world. And so, although there are a variety of different reasons and different conflicts that are making things particularly tricky, much of it interconnected, like the connections between Russia, China, North Korea, Iran. Um, as I say, the real danger is that we sort of carry on in a slightly sort of complacent Western manner, almost as a parody of the way that Putin thinks of the slightly soft and lazy West. And in doing so, we fail to notice the real dangers. And that's why in January of this year, I made a speech at Lancaster House. It was the speech in which I used the phrase, we've perhaps moved from a post-war to a pre-war era, not because we're about to go to war, but because I think it is right to say that we do need to up our defences, up our defence spending.
Yeah, I mean, not wanting to overly alarm our listeners, but the sort of briefings you would get, you've talked about recently about an increasingly unstable world. What is it that's kind of moving it to making it more increasingly unstable? We know obviously the conflicts that we have a kind of active role in. What are the other kind of things that you saw that make you think that it is increasingly unstable?
I think it's actually the interconnectivity between global players who fundamentally don't believe that population should make up the decision about who runs them, who rules you. And if you think about these different countries, they all have the same thing in common. Of course, there are many other countries in the world where the population doesn't get a free and fair choice. But if you think about Russia, where Putin doesn't respect democracy, I mean, it was briefly a form of democracy. Putin comes in, he increasingly erodes the institutions, removes democratic outcomes, and now wins ludicrous percentages of the vote and, murders, actually murders his opponents. If you think about China, there is only one purpose of the Chinese Communist Party, the regime, and it is to remain in power. That is their entire purpose. Now, they may do things to try and improve the living standards of their populations in order to justify their positions. But, for those of us in democracies who believe that ultimately people should have the power, not a political party, this is an anathema. Same in Iran, same in North Korea. They all have something in common. And the dangerous part of this is they don't all get on just because they've got different systems. And I'm not saying they always will. But right now, for example, you've got the same drones, the Shahed 136, coming out of Iran, being used by Iran